Greetings, family. My name is Arlene Kahet, and welcome to the Power of Tranquility. I teach people how to develop and create harmonious communication with each other so that they can be better understood. And also, I help to promote harmonious communication. So, one of the things that I have found is that when children become a part of the relationship, that when the children, whether or not it is children from a blended family or children that come as a result of you all being family and being together, that children are very time consuming and they can really wear on a relationship. Now, in essence, they are a blessing, but because they are in that place of requiring a much time and attention, sometimes, not all, but sometimes the relationship takes a back burner to that because the needs of the children are immediate. But it is always important to really be in a place of creating time for each other, to be in a place of connecting, to be in a place of communicating, and to more or less sort of keep the romance going. And the person, ideally, the person who is not the primary caretaker of the children, I will say it is ideal that they do the planning to make sure that that happens. And the reason why I say this is because the person who does the primary caretaking, they are so caught up in the everydayness of taking care of the children and in order to make sure that the children are taken care of, or if they're taking care of the household duties or things of that nature, whatever the case may be. One of the things that can be enriching to a relationship that has young children in it is the person who is not the primary caregiver and who, especially if there is a stay-at-home parent, the person who is not necessarily doing that, it is ideal that they are the ones that create the opportunity for the relationship to be nurtured. Whether or not that is planning things out for, the children to be taken care of while you and your partner go out on a date, whether or not is bringing flowers. And the reason why I am suggesting that is because one of the things that happens when you have young children, it is almost as if they're all consuming. And that person who is the primary caregiver, especially if they're like a stay-at-home parent, that takes a lot of energy. And by the time the person who is more or less the breadwinner comes into the experience, from doing work or whatever it is that they have going on, that the person who has been taking care of the children all day, more than likely than not, is desirous of having some time to, catch their breath, because literally for the stay-at-home parent, that is a 24/7 job. You don't really get a break from being in that particular role when you are the one that stays home with the children all the time. And that can be very taxing, especially because you may be dealing with a child who is so young that they're not able to verbalize yet about what is their concerns and things of that nature, or if they're taking care of the house or whatever the case may be. The responsibilities are ongoing and nonstop. And so giving that person the opportunity to take a break is a good thing, like, letting them get the opportunity to decompress, Maybe, take a day, and that would be to themselves, whether or not it's to a spa, pedicure, get your hair done, whatever that may look like. I'm just putting these things out there to give you a sense of what can be done. Also, uh, it would be sort of incumbent upon the person who is not necessarily working in the home all the time to be in a place of creating the situation where they are allowing that relationship to be nurtured, in the sense that you create the dates that would facilitate you into being in a place of going out with each other, so that you can talk to each other, so that you can find out what their perspective is, or what are their needs, or what are each other's needs. Like, how are you guys, how are you as a couple changing? Because the thing that's really interesting is the people that you were as you were single changes after the baby comes into the experience. You're going to go through a change. I recall years ago, after having some challenging times with explaining to my husband that I did not necessarily want to be married anymore, that one of the things that he had said was that, that he wanted things to go back to the way they had been. Well, what I will share is that there wasn't a cultivation of that space for us to remain the same, but because we had children, we could not remain the same. Um, and that aspect of our relationship was not cultivated. And so I want to be in a place of giving people the benefit of my experience and letting you know that as a couple, it's going to be necessary for you to take the time in order to relearn each other, because regardless of what it is, where it is that you are now, the people that you were when you were single compared to the people that you are after the marriage and even after children, that changes, that really changes up the dynamic of the relationship in such a way that it really, really, it really, you become different people, because there is an up leveling of what is going to be required of you. Anyway, that is it for this evening. Go ahead, if you like this content, go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment. And may peace and power be with you wherever you go. Blessings, family.